I sent you the article about Thanksgiving too, right? About the announcement.
Yeah, I think I'd already seen it.
Yeah, that's
It doesn't need to happen.
absolutely two minds about that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I face value, I think we're both in agreement that it doesn't need a sequel.
Yeah,
However, given that it was a bit tongue-in-cheek and homage to slasher films anyway,
yeah.
one sequel that is a tongue-in-cheek homage to slasher film sequels wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. But it absolutely does not and should not become a franchise. That's my take on that.
But money, Aiden.
I know.
But
money.
money.
It all comes down to money.
It's all about money. Where does it go? Where does this franchise go? Where does it? Now it's going to be a franchise. Where does it go?
That's the thing. I don't know. But
I mean, you could bring him back. The same killer.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be unless we go down the Scream route and it's somebody related to him that we previously he has a brother or a cousin or a son or something that we've not previously seen that wants revenge.
And the problem with that being though is because they left it open ended with Sheriff, I can't remember his first name, Sheriff Dempsey, being blown up, but they never saw his body, blah blah blah, open ended sequel bait. But then you could either bring him back and go lose the idea of who is it under the John Carver mask, so it kind of makes the mask redundant in a way.
Yeah, but then
if it's him,
it becomes like Jason Voorhees, doesn't it?
Exactly. And
or Michael or Freddy.
If you went down the route of Scream, where it's a fanatic about him, or he's not even that. It wasn't even that big to have like a fanatic fan base, if you will, about him, or a relative. It does feel like tropey, cliche-esque.
But that could be what they go for, that could be what they go for. And you could always start the second one by saying, like a few years have passed and there was a book based on what happened and the bestseller and there was a TV show and you only have to drop it in like that, don't you, to introduce it. And then it was a famous enough event to spot copycats and fanatics. But yeah, like
tough.
I mean, they could go. I think out of the two, I think I'd prefer it's Dempsey again, and maybe even should bring in some supernatural element and just go in both, with both feet. If you're gonna go for it, just go for it and go right. Yeah, he's back, and it's a supernatural resurrection, and here he is. He was blown up, but that factory was a voodoo factory, and some of the voodoo got loose onto his body. I don't know.
Them voodoo factories. You can't be too careless in a voodoo factory.
in New England.
Yeah,
there's some witchcraft. I mean, they're right on the right area for some witchcraft.
Oh yeah, so. Yeah. Thankfully, what I like is that there's nowhere
Boston voodoo.
No, classic Boston voodoo. There's nowhere in the title Thanksgiving where you can shoehorn in the number 2 to replace a letter and make it look right.
Yeah, but you can have second helpings, can't you? Thanksgiving second helpings.
That's good. I still like the original tagline of "All will be carved," but it doesn't really work as well as second helpings. You know?
Or I don't know, second helpings would work. I mean,
but you can't put the 2. You can't put the 2 instead of a letter like they do.
I see.
Yeah. You trying to think of the letters?
I am.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily need to. It could just be Thanksgiving 2, second helpings.
Eli Roth said that he's taken the year off now, completely taken the year off. But now they've got that the green light. Him and his literally best friend who wrote original Thanksgiving, Jeff Randell, they're gonna sit down and just write this new one. So it looks like 2025 release date. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be thoroughly enjoyed Thanksgiving. So I'm hoping it'll be fun regardless. Not looking for anything serious, obviously. It's a homage to the classic slashers. So
yeah, yeah. As I said,
for anything serious.
I think you could do a homage to classic slasher sequels and then call it done.
Do you know what they should do, right? At the end of it...
It's the money that does the talking.
At the end of it, have an end credits scene where John Carter... so the end of Thanksgiving 2, I've thought about this, okay? I've thought long and hard about this. This is what Eli Roth should do.
Okay, Eli, listening.
This is definitely not a little thought process that I came up with that would work well for a little TikTok clip. Definitely not. By the way, go follow the Dreadcast on TikTok. At the end of Thanksgiving 2, Dempsey is back. He's back in action. Kill, 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 blah, blah, kill, murder, 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 kill, 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 all that lovely Method Man jazz. Yeah. But the credits roll. Whatever happens, he may not die at the end of Thanksgiving 2. He's our Michael now. He's our Jason. There's an end credits clip. What happens? He gets up from another voodoo warehouse explosion.
Yeah.
He stumbles out. He gets back to wherever he's holding up the Carver house or whatever, but he finds a rose on his doorstep. What could that mean? The Avengers, the horror Avengers, are coming back together. Our Valentine serial killer, David Boreanaz, is coming into the fold. We now get Valentine 2. We are getting the multiverse of 2000 slashers. We then introduce I can't remember his name. Hook from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. The Fishman guy.
The Fishman guy, yes, him. We then introduce urban legend Axe and the Parker, and we've got our dream team for the multiverse of mediocre slashers. We've got John Carver.
It's just occurred to me
Valentine.
how bad of a killer costume is a snorkel Parker.
It's just the Parker. Yeah, that's all it was. I don't remember if there was a mask actually. I don't know if it was a.
I don't think there was.
Urban.
Not in the first one, anyway.
Let's have a look. Urban legend. So yeah, we've got the dream team of John Carver, Valentine. Call him Valentine. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and urban legend killer. We can't include Ghostface in that because it's too successful.
No. This is the second string franchises, so we've got.
It was a fencing mask.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's the sequels. So that looks like the sequel. Yeah, Final Cut. But that'll work. Yeah, we'll go with that.
We can get. What was the killer in Cherry Falls called?
Oh, yes. So I always forget about that film.
Leo Marliston.
Oh, that's a good name.
Leonard Marliston. Yeah, and he had a bit of cross-dressing.
Yeah.
Norman Bates kind of vibe going on there as well. I've not seen
that could be
for such a long time.
That could be part of our phase 2.
Okay.
Because it's got to be from that era. You agreed. You agreed.
Yeah,
you agreed to that. Yeah, sure. Why not?
You all heard me.
That's phase 2, but it's got to be from the late 90s to early 2000s. Awful slashers like that. I don't know who else you could include.
I mean, what was the other one? There was a My Bloody Valentine remake around that time, wasn't there?
Yep, that was on TV last night.
2009 with Jensen Ackles.
Yep, there was. What else have we got here? You could include.
I think we've covered the main ones. There's bound to be a few more.
Oh, Victor Crowley.
Okay.
Victor Crowley. Although I see Victor Crowley being the villain's villain. That's the one. Our heroes, our hero villains, join together to fight the big monster that is Victor Crowley. It's pretty good. I like it.
Okay. Here's one for you.
Yeah,
Killjoy the Clown. Have you heard of Killjoy the Clown?
No, I have not heard of Killjoy the Clown. Enlighten me on Killjoy the Clown, Aiden.
Killjoy, also known as Killjoy the Clown, is the titular main antagonist of the slasher film Killjoy and its sequels, Killjoy 2, Deliver Us from Evil, Killjoy 3, Killjoy's Revenge, Killjoy Goes to Hell, and Killjoy's Psycho Circus.
I'm looking at it now.
It's Pumpkinhead for like the gangster rap generation.
This looks like
it's like
what's
Pumpkinhead in the ghetto.
Okay, Killjoy looks like what the other studio, non-Marvel superheroes, so like a Sony's take of the multiverse, like when they did Morbius. It's Killjoy time. It's not part of the main multiverse, but they're trying to shoehorn it in.
It's a different studio. Yeah, no, I can get behind that. I mean, to be honest, I love Killjoy 1. I've not seen any of the sequels yet, although I have the first 3 on DVD.
Never seen. You have them?
I do have 3 of them. Yeah, they are. Well, I watched the first one as a teenager, and it was just one of those random films that me and my friends found and then obsessed over for a bit because it was laughably terrible.
The sequels, wow, the sequels are doing better than the original in reviews.
Yeah,
they actually apparently get better. Killjoy Goes to Hell is a 4.8 out of 10. That's good in a way.
I mean, yeah, it's getting up there.
I mean, it's not great.
I'll have to watch them. I will have to get around to watching them.
Look at that, building up our little multiverse of mid-tier.
I'm still looking.
Yeah,
I'm
it's interesting, isn't it?
Horror movies. I've got to see what else I can dig out. But yeah, like you say, a lot of remakes.
Yeah, or late sequels like H2O, Jason X. Thing is, like you can't look. We can't go with Wrong Turn or Hills Have Eyes because it's a collective. Yeah. You look at Hatchet, it's Victor Crowley. It's a singular.
Yeah.
Although X-Men, Fantastic Four, a group. Guardians of the Galaxy, a group. We
do have Shriek, If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th that came out.
Shriek is great. I remember seeing that at Blockbuster a lot.
Ginger Snaps.
Great werewolf film.
Hollow Man, the Kevin Bacon Invisible Man.
That's that. Yeah, do you know what? Well, let's get Hollow Man in there because that's a bad film.
Get Hollow Man in there.
Get Hollow Man in there. Hollow Man part of Phase 2, along with Cherry Falls.
It's also the year of Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh, there was some beauties at this time, wasn't there?
There really was. There really, really was. I mean, the same year American Psycho came out.
That's too good. That's too good.
Yeah, I know it's far too good. I know.
Far too good. Okay, we'll come back to.
Well, this is a theory we'll work on, and then once we've got it all ironed out, we'll present it to.
We'll present the multiverse of being
to whichever studio we feel.
Yeah.
We need to find out who still has the rights for Valentine.
I'm on it.
Maybe it's David Boreanaz. Maybe I'll just give him a call, tweet him, and just say,
"You made it.
Got a pitch for you."
It's Warner Brothers.
All right. Okay.
They wouldn't give up an IP like that. That they might write it off as a tax break, but
I mean, who else have they got? Warner Brothers have got
probably everything.
I mean, they've got The Conjuring, The Nun. I mean, we need something to replace those. So
yeah, you weren't happy about that the other day.
No, I didn't care. So that's like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. They also have The Exorcist and It. Yeah, the
they've got a lot.
Of it is just Conjuring universe shite.
Yeah, I don't think Insidious isn't part of the Conjuring universe. I think it's Annabelle, right? It's Annabelle
and the Nun.
Yeah, the Nun is the real spin-off, I believe, of the Conjuring, but it's just scary makeup and going. Bah!
Although I can't help but see the person dancing around the middle of that merry-go-round now. You must have seen that.
Enlighten
me. Like you clearly haven't. I think it's a theme park somewhere in the world. This is the best I can do.
Okay, all right.
But basically, there are two. It's like one of those stand-up spinny things where centrifuge holds you in. It's one of those, and then in the center of it, there is somebody dressed as the Nun, and somebody dressed as Billy the puppet, and they're like dancing around as the ride's going. Yeah, and it seems to have gone a bit viral.
It looks like one of those sort of fairs that turns up once every 3 months, and they've got those shitty spray paint images of all these movie icons, but they look awful. Got no rights to it or whatever.
No, exactly. All the Disney characters, and they're all they're all painted that badly that even Disney are going. Just you know what, it's fine.
Let them have it.
Can't be bothered.
Yeah,
can't be bothered making the trip to challenge that one.
We've made more money in the time we've been discussing it than they have in their whole career of having these images up. Yeah.
Oh, right then. Shall we get on to today's movie?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we've filled enough because we're not. I just know we haven't got much to discuss with today's movie. Do you know, we went from a high of highs last week, I feel like, with Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Lots to discuss. To what I believe we've come crashing down a little bit today.
Yeah, but before we, because I'm not going to trash this completely. It's not. I don't think it deserves that. We are not ticking off another one in the series that we were doing on the Universal Monsters, so that's good. Yep. That's positive.
Yep.
We're working through it. This is probably one of the first horror sequels.
I believe it is
officially the first horror sequel, so that's kind of cool.
Yep.
But where's the bride, Tom? Where's the bride?
We'll get to that. First things first. Welcome back to the Dreadcast, folks. One and all. My name is Tom. This is the lovely Aidan.
Hello.
And yes, as you can tell by the title and what we've just started alluding to, we're discussing Bride of Frankenstein today.
1935.
Yeah, and the fifth in our series.
That sounds about right. I'll do some finger counting as well.
We've got 3 more. I think we've got 3 more.
Yeah. That sounds right. The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman, and Phantom of the Opera are the last 3, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. And I do believe we have much to discuss with it. Just before we do, do you have any points to bring to the table? Anything to bring to the table this week?
Any extra stuff? No, I don't think there has been any extra stuff. I mean, there was a lot of Wicker Man content on Radio 4 Extra last night. Because it is 50 years of the Wicker Man. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this previously. Or were aware of it.
I'm not sure I've even heard of that film.
It was very good. It was essentially, so it'll all be on BBC Sounds to listen again and what have you. And it was previous content that's been out there before. So there was Christopher Lee's Desert Island Discs episode.
Oh, I didn't know he did one.
No, it was interesting. I was waiting with bated breath to see what sort of things he'd pick. The answer is a lot of opera. But given that he released 2 metal albums, I was kind of wondering if there was going to just randomly be like a Slayer album thrown in there or something like that. There wasn't. It was mainly opera. But still, very, very interesting man to listen to. Then there was, what else was there? Various documentary. There was like a little mini documentary on folk horror generally and some stuff about the music. But it's all stuff that's been on previously, and it was like a playthrough again. But it all built up to a new dramatization of The Wicker Man, starring Brian Blessed as Lord Summerisle.
That works. That fits.
It did work very well. I was very not pleasantly surprised because I was expecting it to be good. I was very satisfied with it. It was obviously a little bit shorter because it was a radio dramatization, so they kind of skipped through it. Didn't quite have the same sort of slow build pacing as The Wicker Man, because you can't just have dead air as somebody's walking around an island. So it skipped along. There's the actual story skipped along a fair pace. But yeah, it was very good. It's very good. Rather chilling at the end, even though I 100% knew what was going to happen. It was done very well.
Yeah,
so
I could see it.
That is going to be on the BBC Sounds app to catch up on. It was originally Radio 4 Extra, not Radio 4, the main channel. It was the extra channel. It was very good. Yeah, I did a little bit of live tweeting going along as I was listening to it. And
I was wondering what you were.
I was talking about. I didn't make it particularly clear.
You're very subtle with it. Very.
I didn't make it particularly clear, but the present one of the. What I don't know, I can't remember the chap's title now. I'm gonna have to look it up. But it was like the presentation. Where is he? The presentation producer for Radio 4 and Radio 4 Extra was liking my tweets along that. So.
Oh, there we go. We're getting popular now. We're getting big.
Getting in with BBC. So obviously he knows all about the Dreadcast, this wonderful fine podcast, and our extremely versatile broadcasting talents.
Yeah, so. non-biased at all.
So there we go. We'll have jobs by the end of the year.
And we're hired.
Because that's how it works, I'm sure.
Mayo and Kermo, you're gone. You're replaced with these hacks.
Oh God, that'd be embarrassing.
Wouldn't it just?
I mean, not that obviously it's never going to happen in a million years, but can you imagine?
I couldn't handle the pressure.
Really sorry. Really, really sorry.
Oh, yeah, that would be horrific. No, that sounds cool. Nice little recommendation there.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. But that's about it for me, I think.
One little thing for me, and I will get into it more in our wrap-up end of the year. I watched Talk to Me.
Excuse me. I saw your tweet about it, and I don't think you were very impressed, were you?
It's not for me.
It's not for you.
And
which one is Talk to Me? Is that the teens having a seance?
Yeah.
That one, using an embalmed hand. Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thing is, I normally I would like to give a little star rating for a new horror film I watch. Just a nice little social media post here and there. I couldn't do it for Talk to Me because it did nothing for me. But it was a good film, very well produced, good acting, everything about it was a good film. It just did nothing for me. So I didn't feel right to say give it 1.5 or 2 stars, because that's a bit disingenuous to what it is. Like, it's a good film, just not for me. That's all it is. The premise, the plot, it's when you really look into it, it's very basic. It is, a group of young teens get into connecting with the spirits, the dead, seancing and whatnot. One of the kids gets trapped in the demon world, and they have to try and get him out. I feel like that's been done before.
Yeah,
someone gets trapped in the demon world, and we have to figure out how to get them out, pull them out.
Poltergeist. So it's not the scariest movie of the decade, as Vice says it was.
I need to see this now. One of the scariest movies of the decade. No, I was not scared once. I was actually confused at points.
Confusion doesn't lead to fear, does it, usually?
I didn't actually pinpoint out at the beginning that it was an A24 film, but now it makes complete sense. Yeah, Yeah, it did nothing for me. Have you seen the marketing for this with the hand, the little model hand?
Yeah,
they use? So
I have.
the hand is, it's kind of like it's an afterthought in the film, really. Even though it's a plot device that's used, or it's how they connect to the dead, but it's a complete afterthought in what it is, how it's there, why it's there, where it's from. Everything about it. It may as well be like, oh yeah, we got this from some guy, blah blah blah. It's from it's a cut off hand from an old medium. But look at all the wacky ghosts we can talk to. Look at all this stuff we can do. And it's what about this origin of this hand that you just happen to have that can talk to the dead? Like,
you know what? That'll be a sequel, won't it? It'll be.
Well, there is a sequel being already greenlit.
So we'll definitely get the hand origins at some point.
I just felt it was a bit. Yeah, forgotten about really throughout the whole film. The lead actress, as you can see, I can't remember her name. She was very good. I liked her. Like I said, the film is not bad. It's just, not for me. And I think I was very disappointed because of all the praise it was given this year. It's one of those things that...
So that just happens though, doesn't it? Sometimes it's... it's difficult. It's difficult to know how you feel about it when you accept that it's just not for you. You're the wrong demographic, or
completely.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I had a similar experience seeing Barbie. I was just at the end of it left kind of not really knowing how to feel about it, because I just appreciated and understood that wasn't the film that was aimed at me in any way, shape, or form. And I was just kind of like, well, it was okay, but I guess it was good, but I did not enjoy watching it.
Yep.
But that's not the film's fault. That's just
not at all
the circumstances.
No, there were good performances in this. The production value was really good. The story is there, but it didn't do anything for me. There's just something about spiritual, paranormal possession films that don't do it as much for me. And if they're done well, i.e. when evil lurks this year, I'm golden.
I mean, I think the best sort of seance movie that I've seen is the one, the internet one.
The internet one, folks.
That might not be its full title. Host? Is it? That
Host was fantastic. The Zoom chat one.
Yes,
it was the shot during the pandemic.
Yes.
That was incredible.
That was great. That is probably my favourite seance.
Because it was only like 60 minutes long. It's a quick watch.
Well, that had some great effects as well, and some genuine scares.
And I believe it was all shot on iPhones.
Mm-hmm.
They were just taped to the laptops.
Well, why not?
Hey, it worked. Host is fantastic. So I'll go into talk to me a bit more at the end of the year, but thoroughly disappointed for one of those films that has given so much praise and hype. As Flavor Flav once said, don't believe the hype. It stands to reason. Yep, don't do that.
That's our Flavor Flav quota for this episode.
Quota of the week. Flavor Flav quota ticked off. I also got a Method Man one snuck in there earlier, so that's good.
Nice, you're repping that old school one. See, I have another Simpsons one lined up.
Oh, do you? Oh, I'm excited now.
Well, just thinking about, again, watching The Bride of Frankenstein, and they call it The Bride of Frankenstein, yet clearly there is a lot more focus.
I know what quote you're going for. Is it related to the fireworks factory?
You call it The Bride of Frankenstein when clearly it is focusing on the original monster.
That's not the quote I thought you were going to go for.
No, it's steamed hams.
I thought you were going to go with Millhouse going, when are they going to get to the fireworks? When are they going to show the bride? All right, fuck it. Let's get into it. Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, overall, it was all right. It was. It struck me, and this is it. Like we said earlier on, this is like horror's first sequel.
Yeah.
And maybe even cinema's first sequel to some extent. But it felt like the modern, tongue-in-cheek, will inject some more humor into it this time. Like the Bride of Frankenstein is Evil Dead 2 to Frankenstein's Evil Dead. Like there was a lot more humor in this. Just some downright silly characters and situations. There was a lot of rehashing of the original. And then it finishes with, I mean, the bride, the titular bride, doesn't appear until the
1 hour 7.
Okay, that's
1 hour
7.
Oh,
and that's in a
1
hour 14.
1 hour 11 film.
1 hour 11. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, she's not in it enough to be on the title.
Nope.
Or all of the promo, or
Feel
or
lied
really to be such an iconic. Well, just as iconic in some regard as the main man, Frankie himself, because she is in it for the monster. Yeah, let's not get into all that again.
You want to be on a horror podcast or not, Ian? If you're going to get it wrong.
I want to be on this horror podcast where it's it doesn't really matter.
You're close to your yearly review, Aidan. Okay.
Oh, I didn't
okay.
realize I was under review. Oh well.
Yes.
It's been a good run. Stand by next week. Well, I'll be starting my own horror channel.
Good luck with that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So. She does not. The bride. She does not deserve to be up there with like on t-shirts and stuff. I mean, that's not fair. She's kind of a cool character, but she's in it very, very little.
That's
very
the thing.
Little.
This film, whenever you talk about, or if I do it regularly, talk about Bride of Frankenstein, people, if anyone brings it up or you look up imagery or whatever from it, it's always the sort of startled look of the bride, the long hair with the white streak and the big eyes. It doesn't happen until the end. It doesn't happen. It'd be like I mean, I know it's a twist, but say Saw, right? The imagery was all about Jigsaw and how he looked when he got up, with the prosthetic face paint on and that. But it doesn't happen until the end. You don't see that until the end. It's got nothing to do with the rest of the film. It just, I feel very lied to. I feel very misled.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. But again, wasn't what I was expecting.
No.
I thought we'd get to the bride much quicker. What we did get for a good chunk of the film was perhaps more what I was expecting from the first one. Because I think I remember feeling like Frankenstein's monster doesn't appear all that much in Frankenstein, yet we have a lot more of the monster like running around and causing carnage and stuff in this than we did in the first one.
I thought we got a fair bit from the first one.
I mean, yeah, we get some. He throws the little girl into the river, and then we get him randomly sneaking through a third floor window or whatever, and appearing. And then there's obviously the windmill scene at the end. But in this, there's like a good chunk of him being like chased around. And, he offs like 3 or 4 people in this. He's
prominently featured in this. He's prominently featured at all.
And pardon the pun, a lot more fleshed out and articulate You know, he speaks, he's got lines. We see a lot more character development.
He likes to have a smoke and eat now as well.
And smoke.
Yeah.
I did love the hermit scene. He just turns up and he's like, "Oh, great, a friend. Here, I'll drink some wine, have a smoke, and then we'll play some music."
Yeah. Yeah. It felt. I don't know. It feels very uncharacteristic. I see they're trying to give it more character.
That's what I mean. It felt like a more humorous. Like, this was like the humorous sequel.
Yeah.
It was, as far as I'm aware, there is no extension to Mary Shelley's original story.
Okay.
And I'm saying that with all the confidence of somebody that hasn't looked this up beforehand. I'm pretty sure Frankenstein was just a one and done. And the extension to the story that we get in this movie is entirely, you know, Hollywood screenwriters wanting a sequel. And it makes sense. We get because it begins exactly, you know, right at the ending of the first one. It follows directly on. The story makes sense. I mean, you know, nothing too. It flows and it follows. We have Frankenstein is imprisoned. That is the monster. The monster is imprisoned and then breaks out and goes on the run. In the meanwhile, Henry Frankenstein is recovering from his ordeal and vows to sort of never play God again. But is visited by a character, another
wacky doctor,
who is just the most evil name ever. He's called Dr. Pretorius. He sounds like he has doomsday devices coming out of the wazoo. He's just and basically he's also being he's somehow heard of Frankenstein's experiments, although I'm not sure how news has travelled.
Well, that's the thing. If this carried on, if this happened near enough straight after, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got points like this, how the Doctor
has found
is
out
aware of Dr. Frankenstein, and also how they're trying to give more characteristics to the monster. But yet, if this happens straight after, he didn't have that in the original film. He was just a walk-in entity, basically, with not much going on in his brain. And now he's all happy to chill out with a smoke, some drink, learning bread, learning how to speak minorly. Like it all happens very quickly when you think of it like that.
It does happen very quickly when you think of it like that. Though arguably, I don't think anybody attempted any such thing in the first film. He was just had Fritz whipping him, didn't he? And not very much else. So there's a bit of a plot hole there, but Dr. Pretorius arrives and basically says, "Look, I've been doing some experiments creating life too. We should collaborate." And I think the best collaboration is we make a girlfriend for your creature, is essentially what he says. Frankenstein tells him to sling his hook, he's not having a bar of it, and the Doctor proceeds on his own. And then they do decide to collaborate. Oh, well, he decides to collaborate.
Takes a while.
It takes a while, and it's under duress. The monster, his wife, Elizabeth, is kidnapped, and then it's a case of, I can get her back to you if you help me. And then, they make the bride, and it pretty much finishes there. That's that's it. Obviously, we'll get to exactly what happens in the ending later on down the line, but in a nutshell, that is the plot, and it runs straight on from the ending of the first one. We get a little bit of preamble, don't we, with Lord Byron and the Shelleys
and Mary Shelley, where they feel like they've come straight out of Blackadder the Third. It's so incredibly posh.
It's so incredibly posh and very, very patronising. I think he says something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact line, but it's something like, "How could you, a woman with your delicacies, come up with such a scary story?"
"Oh, you sweet little flower, how did you know how to write?" I didn't know you could read English. Oh, what a pretty little thing you are.
It's very much that, yeah. Who would have thought that
Who would have thought?
Your simple woman's brain would have allowed you to concoct one of the greatest stories? Yeah, it's very
Women, know your limits. I just love fluffy kittens and flowers.
But it was a fun way of introducing it, and I suppose that does come as an extension, that the fact that there wasn't a Frankenstein 2 Electric Boogaloo. So it was an interesting little device to have Shelley sort of in there and saying, well, if you like that bit, there's more to the tale, and here it is.
The film itself, though, like we said, the bride doesn't show up until the end. It is pretty much, it feels very tacked on, the story. We both really enjoyed the first film, and it could have ended there. It was a good ending. It was a perfect ending to the message it was trying to give. Don't try and be God. Create life, because look what happens. Create this monstrosity, and it feels very tacked on that Henry Frankenstein has now kind of become rather not. He wasn't so. I don't know if he was so much a villain, but he wasn't good. He was stealing bodies and whatnot, digging up graves, and now he's like, no, I will not do that again. He's gone to the good side, but now there's this new evil that's come in. Yeah, and it's trying to seduce him. It feels very tacked on. It's like, let's create like really, another monster. Let's do it again.
Really but first of all, not only has he created monsters, I mean, you can get.
Let's get into his creations.
We have to talk about his creations, because Frankenstein, Henry Frankenstein, digging up corpses, stitching bits together, and then blasting it with electricity, and they come alive.
Yep.
It's obviously science fiction, fantasy, whatever, but there's a logical process there.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dr. Pretorius has been growing tiny little people in jars.
So bad.
With absolutely zero explanation as to how he's managed to do this.
Yep, he just has them. They are literally like what you said about Evil Dead. They are mini ashes.
They are. So,
this is why I laughed. I was checked out at this point as soon as I saw this, and he revealed his jars of mini people. I was done.
It was like Sinbad. It was like the Voyages of Sinbad or something. But these are my notes at this moment. Dr. Pretorius, absolutely the most evil-sounding name ever.
Yep.
Pretorius has been making some tiny people in jars, including a mermaid.
Yep. Oh, there was a mermaid. Yep.
Which I think he says was an experiment with seaweed. So.
Okay.
But, I don't know. He's made a tiny little king.
Yep.
A tiny little queen. Yep. Who he has to keep separated because the tiny little king is a horny little king.
Yep. There was
the
a
queen
fourth
can't
one.
Get anything done. There was a devil or the devil. I couldn't quite work out what he was saying. There was a mermaid. I think there was another one as well.
Yeah, let me try and find out what it was.
There was a little king, a little queen. A bishop. The third one, he said he made a third person, and the king made him a bishop. So we have king, queen, bishop, devil, mermaid. That's so five little people in 5 little jars. So we have this odd little sequence where the king manages to climb out of his jar and he's trying to break his way into the queen's jar to ravish her, and he has to be separated and drop back in, and it's all very strange. And Pretorius is basically explaining throughout this that we should collaborate, my skills and your skills, and we could be great together. And it's like, but how have you done what you've done? Because these are tiny little people. He explains, I think, it grows from seeds. It's like
you're so right. You nailed it with the experiments he was conducting in the original film. Yeah, they were a bit, not so much a bit. It's not possible, right? You can't really, but using electricity, defibrillator.
There's a logic there, yeah. We know that the human brain and heart runs on electricity signals and stuff like that. So there's a logic.
But this is otherworldly now.
Yeah.
This is completely otherworldly.
Yeah. I think Frankenstein even says to him, "This sounds like black magic."
Yeah, we've stepped into magic territory now, or whatever it is. This is human people that are about the size of this Costa cup. So you're looking about, I don't know, 15 centimeters high, and they're not mutated. They're not like the monster. The monster in the original is his skin graft everywhere. He's got bolts. He's a bit zombie like. These are just real human beings. But tiny.
Shrunk down little people, little homunculi.
It's baffling.
I mean, that's it. And I think it is alluded to that Pretorius is more magic than science, maybe.
I'd say so.
There is that scene later on where he enters the crypt and finds the body that he wants to use to make his bride. And he sets up like a little shrine of bones, and he's like sat chatting to it, and it's all very like, I've set up my little necromancy station.
Yeah.
Although we never fully see any spell books or rituals being completed or anything like that. He is still presented as a doctor and largely scientific in his methods, but there is this illusion that perhaps there's some magic happening.
Yeah,
as well.
Oh yeah, he's very much the mad doctor though.
Yeah, very much so.
So that's our origins of Doctor. I keep wanting to call him Dr Pretorius, but that's the South African sprinter who shot who defended himself.
Yeah,
shot his partner like 187 times. Yeah, that's Dr Pretorius.
Pretorius.
Yeah,
but I had a similar thing all the way through. I kept making notes. I probably have written Pretorius once or twice.
It does kind of sound like it.
So we have Pretorius doing I say doing this. We don't see very much of him. He shows up and makes this initial proposition, and then we see him at the end or nearer to the end, like robbing a grave.
With his two lackeys.
But most of the time, most of the rest of the film is taken up with the monster's little adventure. So
yes, he goes on a little adventure, doesn't he? He goes wandering around the world.
Let's say he's wandering through the woods, and then he stumbles across the little hermit guy.
I thought he would be more featured. I thought that was it. Like because before that So let's go to the beginnings of his adventure. Because after the windmill, it was a windmill, right?
Yeah, it's a windmill.
Yeah, it collapses into like a ravine into the mountainside. It's the father of the young girl that he kills in the original, wants to confirm the kill. He wants to confirm that the monster's dead. Gets pulled into this little underground lake by the monster, gets killed, and then the monster escapes. And we get more sort of comedy though.
It does for his wife, doesn't it? His wife helps the monster out thinking it's her husband, and then she sees him, and then he throws her in. But
she's very comedic. The way she's portrayed as her screaming, it's very slapsticky.
Yes.
Her scream. I think her name is Minnie.
The screaming hag I've got written down.
So once the monster has escaped, he then goes on his adventures, and the first thing he does, he encounters another lake where there's a shepherd, a female shepherd or sheep herder.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that bit.
She survives. Like she screams by the side of him, falls into this little pond, lake, watery area, whatever you have. He tries to save her, but then is scared off by hunters who just happen to be there.
Oh, they shoot him, don't they? He gets shot.
They do, and then
he gets shot quite a lot in this. Actually, I think he gets shot about 3 times.
I don't know if shooting him would. Does he have running blood?
No, it doesn't do anything to him.
No.
Although the hermit does say that he's injured, but he does get shot. He gets shot in the police cell as he's escaping. He gets shot through the window. He gets shot by these hunting. It might only be twice he gets shot, but he gets shot got by these hunters when he's rescuing the shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so as he's running away, he then ends up at the hermit's house, the blind hermit's house. Yeah. Who I thought would then, because they focused quite a lot on this setting and the character, I thought this was going to be the monster and the hermit now throughout. Sort of like that's that story. We'll again go back to them creating the bride.
Yeah.
But no, it goes on for about 5 minutes and we move on again.
Yeah,
he goes on his adventure. Yeah,
he's teaching Frankie how to speak. It was quite a touching moment there because that blind guy was like thanking God and crying that God had sent him a friend. It was quite a touching moment. Monster. This is my notes. Monster happens across an old shack with violin man kicking out some jams. Old guy is blind, so doesn't mind the monster. He's teaching Frankie how to speak. Then he gets him on the smoke. They get high and jam on the violin.
I think it was at this point I was starting to feel like this could be a parody film.
It felt a bit like it was a scary movie. It could be
a bit, yeah.
And like if it had have been made in the 2000s, it absolutely would be like ripping bongs with Monster.
What's that?
Or it would be exactly that. Yeah.
What you
the
doing?
Scary movie was up.
Nothing. Chilling.
Or parodying whatever other adverts that were available in 1935, I suppose.
To you young folks out there listening, Wazza was amazing in the early 2000s, okay? It was a Budweiser advert. You should go hunt it out. It's great. That's a very dated reference now, isn't it?
It is very dated reference. I always like the frogs more, the Budweiser frogs.
Budweiser. Yeah. Oh, we're so old. We're so... it felt very parody-esque because of how serious the original was taken. There was just such a shift in tone of this film compared to the original, and the fact that this was let's say the first sequel, but it didn't come out that long after the original. I think 2 years. The original was 33.
Yeah, this was 35.
Yeah. Was it 33 or 31? Oh, it's 31. 4 years. Okay, but even so. The tone just felt so off.
Like you said again, we've struggled with these to sort of find the horror because these movies are very, very tame by our standards.
Completely.
You know, and I think these days they put them on like on a Sunday afternoon. I'm pretty sure the first time I saw Nosferatu was like Channel 4 at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning in my grandma's house. So there's nothing that's going to mean that they need to be on post watershed or anything like that. But that being said, this is definitely less horror and more comedy, 100%. It is. It's very much. It is, as I said at the beginning. It's Evil Dead 2 compared to Evil Dead 1.
You're right.
It just is. It's a lot more slapsticky. There are whole characters like the mini character who are just purely there for comic relief, comic effect.
And there's no Lord Byron. No, sorry, not Byron.
Lord
Lord
Frankenstein. Baron Frankenstein.
The Baron, that's it. There's no Baron.
We were missing the Baron. I was missing.
We should be asking when there's no Baron on the screen, where's the Baron? That's what it should be.
Where's my Baron, Freddy?
That was the best part of the original film. We both agreed
He was the best part of the original film. He is alluded to. He does get mentioned. It's like, I'll inform the Baron that his son is alive.
Yeah.
But I was hoping he'd rock up in his smoking jacket with some wenches and start shouting at people. Cause...
Remember, the poor folk can't have the good champagne.
Exactly. Just turn up in his Baron party wagon. It's very strange shift in tone. So we get so while he's hanging with the hermit, we get two other people turn up other hunters, and that blind guy's just like, yeah, come in, have a smoke,
more friends,
some food, more friends. He's just running a complete like hippie loving free for all in the forest. The two hunters come in and obviously see that the other companion, the other person, is the monster, and they cause a huge fuss, and it's like, come on, you know, this guy's a monster, can't you see? He's responsible for murdering people all over the place. Come with me. In the ensuing chaos, Frankie accidentally burns down the poor guy's shack. And it's like you can't seem to find a friend, and everywhere he goes there's an accident that makes him he's got to move on again. So yeah, Frankenstein, the monster, accidentally burns down the blind guy's hut while he's bundled off by some guys who thinks he's in danger, and then it is just Frankenstein moving on again.
Yeah, next antic.
Goes to a graveyard, takes refuge in a crypt, and this is where he runs across Pretorius.
Yeah,
and at this point, it's about 45 minutes into the movie, and of a 1 hour 11 movie, and there is still no bride.
Nope, still not a single bit of bride. Not even a little bit of bride.
She's not even like on the slab waiting to be resurrected. She's not in existence at this point.
If you look at all the, like we said earlier, all the promotional material, like the original posters. Okay, here we go. You type in Bride of Frankenstein into Google, it's just an abundance of that imagery of her looking startled with the hair. It's everywhere. The posters are half her, half monster. It's just everywhere. But the thing is, all these pictures you're looking at are from a grand total of about 4 minutes.
Yep.
They're not spread out for it. You look at these images and you think, oh, what antics does she get into throughout the film? What part is this from the film? What happens here? No, it's the same shot. It's the same set.
That's it. I mean, there's lots of scenes of scenes. There's lots of sort of promotional pictures of the bride and the monster looking at each other longingly and all this.
Yeah.
And even sort of sweeping her down for a kiss and all that sort of stuff. And obviously we find out that, spoiler, she doesn't like him.
Yeah.
She's terrified of him in the same way that anybody else is. So
I just found something that's quite look at this. You know, you can buy film sales of your favorite films. So look at this. You can buy film sales of Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
£75, and it's basically 4 film sales or 3 film sales, which what we've just talked about are from what, a minute's worth of the film.
Yeah.
The only part for £75. I feel like you're being a bit mugged off with something like that for this film.
Yeah.
Say it was.
But then again,
75.
Go on.
No, I'd say it was £75 for 3 film sales of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? You could have one, the iconic scene of him slamming the door open for the first time, or the scene of Franklin turning the light round and you see Leatherface. Just all these spread out throughout the film, so you're getting a bit of the whole film. You're getting a few film sales of within a minute of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all, there's not really anything. They can't spread it out. It's not possible to spread it out.
No.
She is just there. I want to know where all that hair comes from, though. Because when we first see her, she is wrapped head to foot in bandages.
Yeah, they probably wrapped her up on the bed. And that's... For the hair to be like that would take a lot of hairspray, right?
Sort of, exactly. It's a very tight bowl cap. Well, I think is it that the electricity? Is it the electricity? that's jazzed it up and left the streak in there. But yeah, I mean, just looking, there is a lot of merchandise.
Yeah, well, like on Amazon.
On Amazon and various things. I mean, yeah, little Funko Pops, and you can get the wig, you can get action figures. Nika have done a line of the Universal monsters. She's always included, and I'm not saying she shouldn't be, but it's quite surprising given the amount of actual screen time that she's got.
That's it.
I wouldn't have been. I was kind of again. This is one that I hadn't seen beforehand, and going into it, I was expecting, essentially a rehash of the first film, but from the Bride, but with a female monster running around.
Agreed.
And I thought, presumably at some point they'll get together, and they'll meet, and there's going to be some sort of love at first sight scenario, and they'll gamble off together, and that'll be the ending of the film, is they meet and fall in love and end. But the bulk of the movie would be the female monster getting into similar sort of scrapes as the male monster did, and that'd make up the bulk of your runtime,
Yeah, I think I agree. I had the same sort of theory. Like, basically the film we watched, but get rid of all the BS in the middle, bring the creation forward, similar to the first film. Have the creation of the bride going on, her trying to come together with what she is, but in the meantime, have the monster's antics going on. Like he's out in the wild, and then makes his way back to his creator, and then they can meet. And let's say 40 minutes in. Give it 30 to 40 minutes in, because you got to do the creation, you got to build the story up. Fine, but to long it out that long. But the big point that really bugged me, it's called Bride of Frankenstein. It's not, though. it's not. It's Bride of... And this is where the misconception for a lot of people come into play. The monster is not called Frankenstein.
No.
It's the monster. It should be Bride of the Monster. Or
Bride of the Monster.
Or call it something else. I
think she's credited as the monster's mate, which makes it sound a little bit seedier. Anyway, the monster's mate, and it's a question mark again, like it was with Karloff is credited as the monster in the opening credits this time round, whereas it was a question mark in the original. But they've done the same question mark format for Elsa Lanchester? Was that the name of the lady that played the monster?
Who also played Mary Shelley at the beginning.
She also played Mary Shelley, which I suppose is fair, given that she's in it for next to nothing. That they sort of went, if you can play two roles, so you'll bookend the film essentially. You'll be in it right at the beginning and right at the end. I suppose they show, although she's not too heavily made up, but I suppose they got to show her without makeup as well.
I think it's a real shame, because I actually really love the design of the bride. I think she looks great. It's her face is so impactful, like the big eyes, the big hair, the white stripe. It's very bold looking, very striking. The shoulders are really. It looks like she's got shoulder pads in. And it just wasn't utilized. Everything about it wasn't utilized at all. She's actually got quite a terror look for her, a horrifying look for her, to be fair, in a very subtle way. And it's not utilized one bit really. She's just scared for most of the time.
yeah. I mean, there are a few films that have the Bride of Frankenstein in them, but not many. And I think this is the only one with that sort of, well, one of the only ones with that sort of iconic look. Certainly not as many uses of the character in as there is Frankenstein. There weren't any other direct sequels to this where she appeared again.
No.
So it was just a bit like a one and done, and let's move on and do something else. Yeah, there could have been and should have been a lot more use of her.
There's very little meat on this Bride of Frankenstein. There's very little meat.
3 minutes is hardly a galaxy. Let me talk to Mr. Kwan. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really, that she's not. Like I say, overall, I enjoyed the movie. I did, but it wasn't what I was. Once again, it wasn't what I was expecting. And I thought that a film called Bride of Frankenstein would have featured more of the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Yeah, entirely.
Which it definitely didn't. I
think as well, all these films have been pretty short. They've all been roughly around the same time. 1 hour 10, 1 hour 15. But yeah. I feel for the majority of them, for these discussions, we've had a fair amount to talk about. I really struggled, and I paid attention. I paid attention to this film, but I think I was just focusing too much on where is the bride? When are we going to actually get into this film? Mm-hmm. It felt like so much fluff and filler. Now, when you mentioned earlier about how, yeah, fine, we don't find these films scary. Okay, they're from an audience 100 years ago, which is a very different type of audience. It's fine. We're going to appreciate, like I said, that Talk to Me. These are good films for the most part. They're still watchable films.
Yeah.
But this film, I don't think I enjoyed actually as much as other films, the other ones in the series, because of the fact I was waiting for the bride. I was waiting for something. What I was here for. That's what I turned up for. Really, it felt like a lot of filler and fluff, and I wasn't going to find it scary. I know I wasn't, but I didn't enjoy it as much. I didn't find Frankenstein scary, but I enjoyed that the most out of all of these. I enjoyed The Invisible Man. You know, it's not scary, but I really enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy this.
Yeah, there was, like I say, there was a lot of filler. There was a lot of fluff. I mean, the sort of creation scene itself is so drawn out. Like, there's no need for it to be that drawn out. We get repetitions of the lines. We get, we get a "she's alive" thrown in there.
Alive.
Which again, it feels like that sort of, we're doing a bit of fan service here. Yeah. Like you would expect from modern sequel and stuff. So, but yeah, it's so drawn out, and it's not really doing anything we haven't seen before. So it is like you could have skipped along the process a little bit more, because we know it works. They've done it in the first film, and then we could have had the bride on screen a little bit quicker and maybe got some more time out of her, time with her. But we don't. I mean, just to sort of cap it off, we have Pretorius meeting the creature, the monster in this crypt, where he's grave robbing the 19-year-old that's going to be the bride. He instructs the monster to kidnap Elizabeth Frankenstein, the Baroness, Henry's wife, to essentially coerce him into helping Pretorius create the bride. He goes along with it. It seems quite into it once he's back in his lab and going.
It doesn't take much to convince him.
He's not really doing it under duress anymore. They do the old thing with. There's a little bit of looking at the heartbeat and sort of increasing the saline solution to make it, they've to again demonstrate that they've created life, but we know that they can do it. They have the usual waiting for the storm to come in and flying kites and electrical strikes. We get another "she's alive moment. And then plot twist: the bride is scared of the monster
Terrified.
Doesn't
Absolutely
want
terrified
to be with him, and the monster. Henry and Elizabeth escape. The monster pulls a lever that blows up everything in the lab, killing himself, Pretorius, and the bride because they belong dead. And then it ends. That is it. That is the end of the film.
Just ends.
I think Elizabeth gets one more line or Henry gets one more line saying, "Well, that's over," and then it literally is the end.
Well, that's the end of me.
Yeah, like I didn't have a problem with the ending. In the whole, again, it's that repetition of the man shouldn't play God angle, and the monster recognizes that he's a thing that should not be, and he'll destroy himself for that reason. And I did like that, but they could have reached that. I think they should have reached that ending via different means, with more of the bride and less of the fluff. And yeah, that was.
It's a shame as well with a film like this that we've both been kind of disappointed in, that we feel didn't have much meat on the bone, is that our discussion on it / review doesn't have much meat on the bone to it, really. No,
that's it.
And that's a shame.
There's not really much you can say about it. It is what it is.
Not much we can personally say about it, other than just reading Wikipedia about it. We could read out Wikipedia and give you fine folks all this background information on it, but that feels alone tacked on. The point of this is to give our impressions on it, and I feel like when there's not much to give, like not much to take, there's not much to give you guys about it.
That's it. That's fair.
The one other point I did have was about the monster himself, and I feel the way he looked, his makeup and the effects didn't look as good as how he looked in Frankenstein. I feel like it wasn't. It looked a lot smoother. He didn't look as corpse. He didn't look as corpsey.
I feel like we saw him
decayed.
I feel like we saw him a little bit more close up for longer periods as well.
Yeah,
which probably didn't help. Like he was very much more of a character in this one than.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
A creature or the antagonist or anything. He's very much more a personality. We start to see that he's learning and he knows. He learned. You did touch on it, and it is true, and it's just struck me how quickly he does come on, like learning. He goes from sort of bread good, drink good, to articulating that he knows he was created from dead bodies and he shouldn't exist. It's like,
yeah,
that's quite a step. That's like your ABCs to quantum physics PhD in the matter of a few hours.
And the fact it's a continuation from Frankenstein, the original film. We're not. He's been in the wild for 10 years now. Learning to hunt like a caveman. He's picking up his skills. No, this is instant.
Mm-hmm. He's it's the Frankenstein takes place over like 2 days or something. It's like day 3 of his existence or 4 of his existence.
What's weird as well?
A week, anyway.
I was just saying about how very little meat on this, and how we didn't really have much to bring to the table on it. We've gone through the film and talked about what we liked, what we didn't like for the most part of the story. And I'm looking at our past episodes on this series. Dracula, we clocked in at 1 hour 52.
Huh?
Frankenstein, we clocked in at 58 minutes.
Right, okay.
Mummy, 1 hour 10, and Invisible Man, 1 hour 54. Now, granted, there might be a lot of filler in those podcasts.
We did lose the Frankenstein audio as well, didn't we? We had to redo that.
I forgot about that. That'd be why, yeah. Okay, fair enough. But I'm fairly certain we probably just got straight into it. So that's probably, most of that episode is probably on that. Whereas the Dracula and Invisible Man clocking in just under 2 hours are probably a lot of filler involved.
There'll be the usual preamble and stuff.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like I said, you bring up the Wikipedia of these films, and it's an essay. We could go through this for another hour and just basically read off what someone else has wrote. Which, we'll talk about facts and trivia here and there, but I don't know. For the most part, yeah.
You can't, we can't riff on what isn't there. And like I said, I think we both think this is just lacking a little bit. Getting to the point already where we're just repeating ourselves, but it's we wanted to talk about the bride, and the bride's not in it, so it's difficult to talk about.
Yeah, where's the bride? I say, hey Goober, where's the bride?
I am glad that we've gone through another of these classic movie monsters, these classic movies. Again, it's good that I can say, oh yeah, I've watched it, and I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I have seen Bride of Frankenstein. Interestingly, not much bride in there. I'm glad that I've ticked it off, and we can move on, and we can get closer to completing our run through of these classic monsters. And
agreed.
But yeah, it's just like, oh, that was not. I felt a little bit like this with the Mummy, that I was like, oh, there's not much actual mummying running about, and this is exactly the same. There's not much actual bride running about.
Whereas you look at Dracula, Invisible Man is probably the key one. He's there from the get-go. He is the first character you see, and you see him as the Invisible Man maybe 10 minutes in. Dracula, soon as I can't remember our character's name. Jonathan gets to the. Is that the character that gets to the castle? Yeah. Right at the beginning. He's introduced.
It's Renfield.
No, it's Renfield. Introduced to character Dracula instantly. The Mummy. Yeah, I think we both agreed at the beginning when he's like wrapped up, really like looks like a mummy. That's pretty cool. And starts moving around, and he just becomes Boris Karloff walking around with a fez.
With a fez, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
A wrinkly Karloff in a fez.
Whereas next time, when we come back to the Monsters of Universal, which will be in the new year, we'll be looking at the Wolfman. Now, I've never seen the Wolfman.
I've not seen the Wolfman either.
But what I'm really now hoping is that we get some Wolfman within the first 15 minutes, hopefully. I'm really hoping we get
Wolfman in it.
Or a wolf. Can we just have a wolf at least within the first 15 minutes? So we'll see then in the near future. We've got three left. Wolfman. Then we've got
1941. I think this is one of our latest ones, isn't it?
Oh, okay. So but there was still a lot of filler films in between. A lot of other Universal films. After Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and then capping off with Creature from the Black Lagoon, which I think you're probably looking forward to the most. I would say, yeah. I think I'm looking forward to that as well. Out of the next three, so out of the 5 now that we've done, where does this sit?
Oh, I think this is below the Mummy. This is probably the lowest.
Unfortunately, I think I would say the same.
Yeah.
Not to say it's a bad film, though. Again,
no.
Just in the 5 we have to choose from, that's just unfortunately where it has to sit.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I think I'd rewatch it, because I know what to expect, and I think I'd rewatch it, and I'd probably pay a little bit more attention to the OG monster side of things, because I wouldn't feel the need to sit there going, well, where's the bride? Where's the bride? When's the bride turning up? I think I could watch it again. But just off that first viewing, I think it's got to go to the bottom of the list.
I agree.
Just for not delivering. Again, it's well, I say it's my perception of it, but I suppose that's what the promo material and the footage and the stills that exist show the bride being front and center, and it's not there. So yeah, I've got to say that it's the bottom of the list for not delivering on what I was expecting.
Yep, it's not giving you what you've been told to expect. Yeah, completely agree. I think the rest of the list would be Frankenstein number 1. For me personally, probably then Invisible Man, then Dracula, then Mummy, then Bride. I think I enjoyed Invisible Man more than Dracula.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, that is our half-baked, half-assed, shoehorn in, whatever you want to call it, review, look, discussion of Bride of Frankenstein. Is what it is, was what it was. It's not really the Bride of Frankenstein. It's Dr. Pretorius and his wacky creations and blackmailing. Yeah. And the adventures of the monster Sinbad. So, yeah, that is that. Right. That was meant to be back in November, but it's obviously December now. We just had to. We took a week off. The rest of December now. The rest of December comes the fun stuff, because it's Christmas time, folks. It's Christmas time, horror films and why. That worked better than I thought it would. So, you picked your films.
I did.
I picked my film. And we've also got the 2023 wrap-up at the end of the year. But what we have coming out the rest of December is... What have we got here? Where's the list? We have, and I've mixed them up. Next week, you pick Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Which is a fairly new film.
Yeah.
Saw it on Shudder.
Yep.
Christmas Bloody Christmas, yeah, 2022. It's about a robot Santa that goes on haywire and kills people. The trailer looked very entertaining. It gave me strong, like, chopping mall vibes. Yes. Because I think when we talked about doing these Christmas films, the idea was that the cast looked very strange. Nobody's got like a normal shaped face. Everybody's slightly weird. Anyway, I think my original plan was to pick like a quote unquote good Christmas horror film and like something bottom of the barrel. Yeah. When I actually went looking, I couldn't quite find what I wanted. So what I've ended up going for are two films that I've not seen. Yeah. But were sort of very different in tone. So this one looks like it might be, because there was a couple of Christmas comedy films I was looking at. Okay. One was Anna and the Apocalypse, which is a British Christmas zombie movie.
Oh no!
Which I think is reviewed quite well, but it looked like it might just be a little bit too light-hearted, and I want to try and find something a little bit more, genuinely horror. Yep,
I understand.
Firmly in the horror genre. I also considered Gremlins.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
A classic horror, and I know it's a family film, but
perfectly acceptable.
I do put that in the horror camp 100%. Anyway, I went for two films that I'd not seen before, and this one gave me that sort of a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, a little bit more light-hearted vibe. And then my second pick, Advent Calendar, looks like it's going to it's a little bit more straightforward, scary, sinister.
Yeah, is it foreign as well? Is it French?
I think it's French. Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. So we'll be doing. I'm gonna mix them up. We'll do Christmas Bloody Christmas next week.
Yep.
Following on from that will be my pick, being Silent Night, Deadly Night, one of my favourite Christmas horror films. That was my good pick, because like you said, we were going to pick a good one and a not so good one. Mm-hmm. So the not so good one will have to wait till next year, but that's fine. So after Silent Night, Deadly Night, Advent Calendar, and then we'll be wrapping the year up with the wrap up. Perfect way to cap off the year. Mm-hmm. And nice little sketch for the rest of the year, and
I think so.
I think that about does it. I doubt there'll be anything in the mailbag because people have clearly just been probably too busy to send us any mail right now. That's probably what's going on.
I think that's what it is. But if you do want to send us an email, the Dreadcastpodcast at gmail.com is the address.
Yep. That's the one.
Obviously, our mailbag is huge and bulging with festive posts. So apologies if we don't get round to your missive straight away, but we'll do our best.
I also want to say the last couple of episodes have been doing really well. Thanksgiving and the Vivitch we're doing really well. Thank you everyone for listening to them. As is Kill List, it's doing very well as well. So thank you. It's been a good month. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, glad to hear it. Thank you.
But yes, if you haven't checked them out, do go back and check them out. There's some damn good episodes there, and all our past content on Spotify, Apple, Google, Podbean, Amazon, and the YouTube, always searching the Dreadcast, and the social medias, which I alluded to earlier on TikTok, Twitter, calling it Twitter, and Instagram at the _Dreadcast. Go check them out. I just want to check actually before we do go. What are we looking at for? We're still branching out across the world. We're doing well with apparently. Okay, I don't. We have viewers. Hang on. This is important. This is really important. Damn it! Podbean is not showing it to me. Podbean sometimes shows you where you're getting your listeners from.
Oh right.
And at the moment, it's just showing me Canada. I don't know why. Normally we're around the world, but
it's exclusive Canadian content.
Apparently so. So
we're very big in Canada.
We're doing well in Canada. So yeah,
good. Glad to hear it.
Up the Canucks. All right. So until next time, Christmas, bloody Christmas, and I am ready to get jazzed up for next episode for Christmas. Everything ready. This is going to look very different. I'm going to look very different. We're going to have a good Christmas month, and stay tuned for a Christmas horror podcast.
Definitely.
Till next time, folks.
Stay spooky.